In this video, we'll talk about the difference between the usage of sa wala pa and sa una, right? So we have sa plus the wala pa and then the sa plus the una. Now, these are two ways to express before an event happened or after an event happened, right? Or an event, no, not after an event happened, but before events will happen, and just I guess you can closely translate it to just before. They both mean before in English, but the way it's used is similar to how we look at it in the way of aspect. So if you have forgotten what aspect was, I'm going to need you to remember it because we are going to talk about that again. So in this little chart here, if you see the timeline, right? Sa una is a way to express before in the completed, right? In the completed kind of way. So something, an aspect that has been perfected or an aspect that's been imperfected, right? If it's perfected or imperfected but already done sometime in the past, right? Or completed, or still ongoing but still done. I guess you can say ongoing because it already did start. Then we use sa una. The opposite is if an action hasn't even started or an event hasn't started yet, right? We don't know when it's going to start, but it's going to start sometime in the future, right? We just don't know what aspect yet. Then we use sa wala pa, right? For incomplete events or events that have not yet happened, right? So right here, sa wala pa, which translates to before, and it's before in the sense that an event in time will happen, right? We don't know when it's just gonna happen because the event in time hasn't began, but it's just gonna happen. It's going to start. It just hasn't began yet, and we will use sa wala pa to express that. While sa una, which also means before, is an event that already happened in the past, whether it's been an ongoing thing, right? An ongoing event, or an event that happened once and is done, right? It's ongoing, meaning it was an imperfected kind of aspect that was ongoing and then stopped, or is still ongoing until now, still ongoing, or perfected, which means it happened once and is already done, right? Again, sa wala pa and sa una are ways just to express before. Down here I wrote a paragraph to describe or I guess embellish the way that they can be used. Now there are so many ways to express the word before in Cebuano. These two are just two out of many ways to express the usage of before, but these two are ways that we use the word, or I guess the translation of before, when we describe events and situations in time that has happened and their relation to events that have happened along a timeline. Okay, I'm gonna read the paragraph and I'll translate it and I'll explain it, right? So all the good stuff will come afterwards. Kita ta ugma sa sinehan sa wala pa mang paniudto ta. Dayon makatan-aw ta sa bag-ong salida kay mas dako ang diskwento sa alas 11:30 sa buntag. Kay sa una, wala sila naghatag og diskwento sa tiket hangtod alauna sa hapon. Lain na karon, ug sa una pa tag-as ang mga linya sa sulod. Okay? So the setting here, the situation, or I guess the story here is in a movie theater, right, or a film or whatever, right? A movie theater, a cinema, whatever, right? You've got somebody, first person and second person, talking to each other, right? Kita ta ugma sa sinehan sa wala pa mang paniudto ta. Let's see each other tomorrow, ugma, at the movie theater or movie house or whatever, right? Whatever screening place is at a cinema, sa sinehan, sa wala pa mang paniudto ta, right? So before, right, before we will have lunch, okay? Mang paniudto. Paniudto is the root word meaning to have lunch. Mang paniudto ta. Remember, plural because we are using kita, right? So mang paniudto ta. Sa wala pa mang paniututa means before we will have lunch or before we lunch, right? Um, and again, sa wala pa expresses that time, that event in time that will happen or hasn't began yet but will happen, right? It's just hypothetical. We don't know for certain fact that it's gonna really happen, but it's just a planned event that will happen in the future that hasn't happened at all yet. So that's why we use sa wala pa, because we can't foresee. We just plan things in the future, right? So this is just an event that will happen in the future. Well, maybe will happen, right? Dayon, makatan-aw ta sa bag-ong salida kay mas dako ang diskwento sa alas 11:30 sa buntag, right? Then, right, dayon, and then we are able to watch the new Salida is a new film that came out, like a new film that this just like a brand new film that came out in the cinemas, right? Bagong Salida, right? Whatever movie that they were talking about, because sa is used, it's that um, marks a specificity, right? Sa marks that specificity. They were talking about a specific new movie, right? And so they were referring to that specific new movie because mas dako ang diskwento, because the discount is more greater or more bigger at 1 o'clock at 11:30 in the morning. Sa alas 11:30 sa buntag, at 11:30 in the morning the discount is greater. I guess it's because it's gonna be 30 minutes until 12 o'clock and time will change, right? So they're trying to get rid of the morning tickets. I don't know. And then the next sentence is kay, because, sa una, because, before, sa una. Now it's using before, but in the sense of sa una, meaning an event that already had happened, an event that began already, or an event that has been ongoing, like a continuous event, right? It was habitual. That's what I mean by an imperfected aspect, right? So something happened before that was imperfected or perfected, some sort of aspect here, right? Kay sa una, wala sila naghatag og diskwento sa ticket, right? Because before they did not give out discounts to tickets until, right, hangtud alauna sa hapon, until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Next sentence is lain na karon. Lain na karon. Now it's different, right? Now it's different. Lain, different. Karon meaning now, but today, right? Karon. Today is different. Lain na karon, or now it's different. Ug, and sa wala pa, and before, and it's using that sa una pa. I can't even read. And before sa una pa, it's using that before again. So something had happened already, right? An event had happened already or was happening, right? Ug sa una pa, and also before, because we have the enclitic participle pa there. So and before also, tag-as ang mga linya sa sulod. The lines were long at the entry, right? So the lines were long at the entry. Now it's tag-as ang mga linya. This makes sense because taas has that ga infix in it, making it plural as an adjective. And since it's a plural adjective, it has to agree with the pluralizer of the noun, right? So an adjective that's been pluralized needs to have a plural marker for the noun that it is modifying, which is linya, which is line, the waiting line. Sa sulod. Sa sulod, meaning in the entry. So hopefully this can help you expand your vocabulary in expressing sa wala pa and sa una, differentiating how to use both, whether an event was complete or incomplete. You just need to understand which aspect to use, whether it was an aspect in the past or an aspect in the future, right? And again, I wrote down here like happy faces, I guess, because I'm rooting for y'all. Keep up your studies. You're doing a good job. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But this is a video I want to talk about with talking the difference between using sa wala pa and sa una, as they both expressed before, right? Out of many ways to express before, these are two common ways to express it. All right?